welcome to the first episode of Making Sense of Money. I'm one of your hosts, Nikki Giancola-Shanks.
And I'm Andrea Pellegrini.
So what is this podcast, Making Sense of Money? So Andrea and I wanted to create a podcast series that explores financial education topics in a wide range of levels, from very basic to more advanced, to help everybody out there. We are very aware that when people hear the words finance or money as some sort of topic, it sounds boring and difficult and not like something you want to listen to. But our goal is to make this podcast both interesting and easy to understand. We will try to insert our lame humor as much as possible. Besides the two of us, who you'll learn a little bit more about, we will also be inviting some experts in the field on a variety of different topics. So you could hear not just from us, but from people who have much more hands-on experience.
So some of the topics that we are planning on covering include, we'll cover a little bit about budgeting, because that's the simplest form of money management, but we'll also talk about credit, and we'll get into deeper topics like wealth disparity within racial groups, and we'll be covering lots of different topics that coincide with our webinar series. We're going to release 2 podcasts a month, so look forward to that.
All right, so why did we decide to launch this podcast together? So just a few statistics to kind of throw it out there. 50% of Americans currently live paycheck to paycheck, according to MarketWatch. And 43% of Americans spend more money than they make each month, and they fill that gap in by using credit cards to cover the shortfall. That's according to the Federal Reserve Bank. And while America may be the world's largest economy, we only rank 14th in financial literacy. So basic financial literacy skills, we don't even make it into the top 10. So both Andrea and I believe that financial education is important for people of all ages, from first graders through senior citizens. And the more that you know, the more you could plan and make good decisions with your finances that will help you as you travel this crazy life.
So who are we, and why do we care about financial education? I have run the University of Illinois System's Student Money Management Center for 10 years. In addition to that, I have publications about how to run financial education programs out of colleges or universities. I've done a lot of research around financial education initiatives, specifically for college students, also for international students, for first-generation students, for college of medicine students, all kinds of students in different categories or in different life stages. I've also run data analysis projects for all kinds of financial education interventions and communication interventions to improve transparency for consumers at colleges, specifically University of Illinois. I've also been the director of new initiatives for the Higher Education Financial Wellness Alliance for the past year. So I have quite a few other things under my belt. I also worked in mental health and substance abuse treatment prior to working for the University of Illinois. So I have a lot of background in behavioral economics and behavioral change management. So those are things that I'm also really passionate about, in addition to consumer advocacy.
And my path to being passionate about financial education is a little long and not a straight line. But I started out actually teaching middle school social studies and English. And so I was a teacher for 5 years, and then I kind of retired. No, I did not leave teaching because I didn't love it. I loved working with kids, but I did have an opportunity to work with then President Barack Obama. So I went and did that for a few years. And then I made my way over to the state government side. I loved teaching, but I had a lot of issues with the larger policies that affected my kids. And so I knew that I wanted to be involved on the policy side of things. So I worked in the governor's office under Governor Pat Quinn, and then I worked in the treasurer's office as the director of financial education, where I was able to kind of combine my love of teaching and skills associated with that with financial education. And that's really when I became super passionate about it. And the bottom line is a lot of these financial education skills are basic life skills that people need in order to succeed. And right now, I understand teachers have so much on their plates that they don't always get to get into the meat of some of this stuff. So it kind of became my mission to help supplement and provide teachers and community partners and libraries and whoever wants more financial education to give them more resources. I now work at the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulation, better known as IDFPR, within the Division of Banking, and I'm the Director of External Affairs and Student Loan Policy. So, like I said, it was a winding road, but I believe that making sure people have access to high quality, easy to understand financial education makes a big difference in their lives.
And I think, Nikki, you and I's backgrounds and skills complement each other in a really unique way. We both have a background in education. I have a master's in human resource development, and a big part of that is instructional design. I care about the consumer advocacy aspect of education from a lot of different perspectives, but I don't have a role in policy, only in interpreting policy and what that looks like to consumers and how are we ethically presenting information that's clear, that people can understand, and where can we fill in the gaps when people are actually making choices. So combining kind of the formal education background that you have, and I have more of an informal approach to education and just-in-time education. And that's where we are hoping that this podcast can play a role in helping people make decisions as they come to that point, right? Not everyone's going to need to know about mobile wallets until they're analyzing them, for instance.
And I think, too, that both of us, the way that we complement each other, as Andrea was saying, when we were putting together different podcasts, with my policy side, we're hoping to also talk about some policies specifically that may be getting introduced either on a state or national level. We are, obviously, Andrea works for the University of Illinois and I work for the state of Illinois, so we'll be more Illinois focused, but occasionally we may pull in examples from other states as well. So we hope that this podcast is kind of a mesh of allowing people to learn the skills that they need to be successful with their finances, but also to be aware of what's happening on a policy level that, hey, if this passes, then I know that I can do this. And, you know, these are the protections that are guaranteed to me by law that I may not have been aware of. And I could report these things and things like that.
I think it's important as we make plans to discuss financial topics that any listeners understand that finances is a very fluid topic and it changes, policies change, new technology is invented every single day that impacts our finances. It could be financial technology specifically. It could be different methods of transactions. It could be the way that we spend influences on spending. So staying up to date on new policies and new protections and new ways of spending money is really important to make informed choices and plan your spending and grow wealth, right? That's what some of the goals are to putting your financial house in order, so to speak.
And we do realize we're also happen to be launching this podcast in the middle of a national pandemic. So I know that probably we'll be talking a little bit about, we're very well aware of how COVID-19 has impacted people's finances. So we will try to make sure when we talk about budgeting, we understand people's budgets have just drastically changed within the last 6 months. So we will be making sure we're talking about that as well.
Absolutely. I think it's really important to address the fact that everyone's in kind of a crisis in different ways right now. So in addition to podcasts, we also partner with several other institutions across the state. So IDFPR, University of Illinois System, University of Illinois Extension, Loyola University, DePaul University, lots of institutions that provide financial education across the state on this webinar series that we do every year called Get Savvy, Grow Your Green Stuff. Our first webinar will be on
September 23rd.
September 23rd at noon. So you can register at go.uillinois.edu/getsavvywebinars. I'm sure we will put a link in our description somewhere, hopefully.
And that topic is actually
financial tools for uncertain times.
I was like, I know the keywords. Yes. So we thought that that'd be a great one to kick off the webinar series with, considering it's very uncertain times for a lot of people right now.
Absolutely.
So we hope that you'll tune in to both the podcast and the webinars. One of our first official podcasts in September is going to focus on banks and credit unions. Kind of, what are they? What do they do? What does it mean to have a bank or credit union account? What does it mean to be unbanked, and how can that affect you?
Our second podcast will cover digital wallets. So if you aren't sure what digital wallets are, we're going to tell you what they are. Where do you find them? What are all the apps associated with digital wallets? So stay tuned.